Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight. Now, before I begin, very quickly, the last video update I did has already been viewed almost 30,000 times, which is fantastic. But I've also received some really positive feedback to the Park lawyers' letters that I read out. So if you want to have a little bit of a laugh, you can find the link to those letters down near the bottom of our fines page. If you just go to the knowyourrightsgroup.com.au website, click on the fines tab, scroll down near the bottom, you'll see a little link there. There should be something going up in the comments section. Now, I do obviously appreciate the feedback, but more importantly, I'm glad that so many people enjoyed them, and I really do hope that they inspire and empower you to fight back against some of this, revenue raising madness, which unfortunately I have to talk about a little bit more tonight. Now, as I've mentioned more times than I can possibly count on these videos, the road toll continues to increase, in many cases exponentially, in most states, and the majority of governments are seemingly completely disinterested in actually doing anything about it, because of course they're making so much money from all of these new road safety cameras that they keep rolling out. Well, it looks like the West Australian government is at least prepared to have the appearance of caring as they actually conduct a road safety summit. So this is the article, and if it's of interest to you, have a read, and maybe you'd like some of the parliamentarians in your state to do something similar. So this is what it says. Road Safety Summit directly targets calls for change to address Western Australia's terrible half-year toll. Parents of teenagers who lost their lives on West Australian roads this year say they hope some changes will emerge from the state government's SNAP Road Safety Summit. From January to August, 122 people lost their lives on WA roads, with 72 of those on regional roads. So it's got a little subheading, what are the solutions? Perth dad Daniel Compo took centre stage at the summit to talk about his son Nick, who died in a car crash in July. Mr. Campo told ABC Radio Perth he would like to see passenger limits for P-platers. Every state except WA, South Australia and the Northern Territory already have some sort of passenger limits. Now, the question, of course, to ask is, how many accidents are there in the other states that have those, P-plate passenger limits, and how many involve multiple passengers of P-plate drivers? Again, I don't know. I haven't done the research, but that to me seems to be an obvious question to ask. It needs to be uniform, but here in WA we are lagging, he said. Director of Road Safety Research, Professor Teresa Sensoric, said the summit was not a talk fest, but rather focused discussions about what can be done to limit the road trauma. Really? So what do they focus on? Oh, there we have it again, lo and behold. She said lowering speed limits was one of the most common themes discussed. That old chestnut again. We're often focusing on people doing the wrong things, and we know that a general rule of thumb is that about 20% of people cause 80% of the problems. She admits it right there. 20% of the people cause 80% of the problems. So why on earth would you lower the speed limits for everybody when it's only 20% of the people that are causing the majority of the problems? She says it there in black and white and then doesn't listen to what she just said. It makes no sense. A terrible first half to 2024. The government's long-term aim is a 50% reduction in deaths and serious injuries by the end of the decade. Premier Roger Cook said the state government must do everything it can to drive incidents of road trauma down. Yes, Roger, you must do everything you can. And can I suggest, that the very first thing that you should do, is grab the Aussie Speeding Fines book, turn to chapter 1, and read that history chapter, which has the history of speed signs, seat belts, ABS braking, speed cameras, all of that, and shows you what actually does and does not work. And there are a bunch of well-researched, well-thought-out, really logical ideas that, if they were implemented, really genuinely, honestly would bring the road toll down. So yes, Mr. Cook, I suggest that you and your road safety research manager grab this book and at the very least read chapter 1, as should of course anybody else out there who's watching this and wants to learn what will really genuinely, honestly make our roads safer. Now, One very interesting idea that's actually been floated again in WA is the trial of a new near-miss camera, which could actually collect some very interesting data. So again, here's the article for those who want to have a read of it. It is entitled, WA's first near-miss cameras launched. Road Safety Commissioner Adrian Warner was in Northam for the launch of the Near Miss Pilot Program, a partnership between the Road Safety Commission and Shire of Northam. In a first for WA, the Near Miss camera technology will be trialled for a 3-month period in the wheat belt and is capable of detecting near collisions between vehicles and or pedestrians. The technology uses a portable camera combined with AI software that analyses video in real time to provide insights, severity levels and risk ratings for near-miss events. The data collected from the cameras is de-identified through facial number plate and vehicle blurring and uploaded to a dashboard. It can then be analysed and used to support the development of road safety planning and investment cases by local government to upgrade or improve road infrastructure. Now there's an idea. Given the travelling that I've been doing the last few weeks and the number of potholes that I've seen basically everywhere, that to me is the first thing that needs to be done. Actually improve the road the road infrastructure first and foremost. During his visit, Adrian highlighted the importance of utilising various measures, not just reducing speed limits, various measures to achieve the best road safety outcomes for the state and save as many lives as possible. Lo and behold, someone with a brain, with some common sense and some logic. Investing in ways to enhance our data collection, data sharing and data evaluation capabilities will help us to better understand the total picture of road safety, he said. And that's exactly what we need to do. Look at the whole picture, not just, reducing speed limits. Okay. Now, look, again, it's certainly not the be all and end all, but at least it is a proactive, creative step in the right direction rather than, as I just said, mindlessly reducing the speed limits across the board that apply to everybody, even though it's only 20% of people that are actually, causing the majority of accidents. And again, that's all the governments anywhere else seem, hell-bent on doing is let's just lower speed limits, let's roll out more cameras, and let's make a huge impact on our bottom dollar. Makes no impact on the road road toll, mind you, but makes them a lot of extra money. Now, of course, we do need to be aware that just because something is a new idea doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good idea. And as the next article I'm about to go through explains, some ideas can actually be downright dangerous and end up making the road toll even worse. Now, this is a fairly lengthy article, but I do ask you to bear with me because it is very, very important. This is happening right now in Europe, and you can bet your bottom dollar that if they have any kind of success or they can tweak the data to show any kind of success, it will be coming to our shores very, very soon. So this is entitled, New Anti-Speeding System Coming to Australia is Dangerous. From July this year, the European Union has introduced one of the most controversial laws in automotive history, which it has conveniently named Intelligent Speed Assistance, or ISA. The system is designed to help drivers comply with local speed limits by constantly monitoring the vehicle's speed against what the vehicle determines to be the road's posted speed limit, either using its camera system to read road signs or using GPS data. If the vehicle goes over the speed limit by even 1 kilometre per hour for just a few seconds, the vehicle then has to warn the driver to reduce speed via either an audible signal such as a constant beeping or a voice, flashing lights and or an alert on the dashboard. I mean, that wouldn't be distracting at all, would it? Automatic reduction in engine power. I mean, that couldn't cause any problems like when you're trying to overtake in a dangerous situation, could it? A hardening or vibration of the accelerator pedal. I mean, again, what are these people thinking? This law came into effect just last month in Europe, meaning all new cars being sold after that date have to have this system enabled by default. It is also mandated that the feature cannot be permanently turned off. Although the ISA system is not yet mandated in Australia, some manufacturers have been complying with the new regulation for some time, and a few of them are already sending vehicles to Australia with the system enabled. We have now spent over a month with a vehicle that has this system enabled, which has given us a real taste of how poorly this government mandate has been thought out and how badly it affects driver workload and distraction. To put it simply, the system is dangerous. Among a range of other brands, owners of new Kia, Hyundai or Genesis vehicles have been subject to this draconian European mandate for some time, with Hyundai Australia working to roll back some of the harsher beeps in its new models. This is not the fault of Hyundai, Genesis or any brand in particular that has been forced to implement it. Rather, it's an overreach by the European Union as to what it has the authority to mandate. And where have we heard that concept before? On the surface, the idea of going the speed limit at all times, 60 in a 60k zone, is very sensible and logical. However, only a fool or a liar will tell you that they never ever go even 1 kilometre over the posted speed limit, and even those who thought themselves to be law-abiding citizens have found their driving experience with the ISA system to be severely degraded. As one owner told us about his recent purchased Kia, "I love the car, but each time the speed alert comes on, I feel like driving it off a cliff." For those desperate to rush down and comment, "Don't speed and you won't have any issues," here's some things to consider. Number one, there is no margin for error. 1 kilometre over and the beeping starts. There is no buffer before the warnings and beep starts. It's important to know that your speedometer is actually usually wrong and it over reports your speed. That means when it says you're doing 60, you're likely doing just 58 or 59. And yet the beeping starts. You can't turn it off permanently. Much like the auto stop start that you have to turn off every time you get into a modern car, the ISA system is similar, but actually even worse. Not only does it turn itself back on every single time the vehicle restarts, turning it off is not as simple as just pressing a physical button like the auto stop start. Instead, you have to dig around through the vehicle menu and turn it off that way. It's one step away from forcing your car to slow down. At this point in time, the implementation does allow OEMs to cut engine power when the driver tries to go over the speed limit as an option. We are yet to experience that, and it appears no OEM has brought the system to Australia yet. While the European mandate so far says the driver can overrule the car's computers and continue to accelerate, there is already talk in the EU of then using the car to dob the driver in for speeding to the relevant authorities, which would be pretty easy to do in any modern connected car that can send the vehicle's GPS data, speed and duration of time the vehicle was over the speed limit. But wait, it gets even worse. As time goes on, the idea has always been to actually stop the vehicle speeding at all. With the move towards smarter and more connected cars, the ability for the government to force manufacturers to implement a system that doesn't allow new vehicles to go over the speed limit at all is just around the corner. If we as a society accept this first step towards that measure, it will come without fail. And then the final subheading is Australian implementation. For now, the local authorities are monitoring the system's rollout and effectiveness in Europe, but we have no doubt that Australia will mirror the European mandate in time. Our local authorities will justify doing so by citing studies and data showing the ISA system reduces speeding and that by reducing speeding, there are less fatalities on the road. This same data can then be used to simply say ISA is now so effective that we will implement the next stage where you cannot speed ever, even by 1 kilometre an hour. And if you do, we will issue you a ticket, force your car to slow down, or simply stop the car. We are not advocating for speeding on public roads, but we are advocating for common sense. At some point, we need to say no to increasing and overarching government mandates impacting all aspects of our lives, including cars, and that time is getting closer by the day. So this is something that people really do need to keep an ear out for, an eye out for. And if you do see any proposed bills or any discussions on these sorts of topics, you want to make sure that you write in and you make your thoughts on this known very, very clearly. And I would urge people even to download, and print off a copy of that article so you've got it as a reference point should it be needed down the track. Now, speaking of bad news like what's in that article, it seems like back to the WA, those in charge there, are really finding it difficult to let go of their, revenue-raising ways. And of course, one of the best and simplest ways to ensure, a really steady, lifelong stream of income is to hit people when they're young, teach P-platers and, young drivers, hit them the hardest, and get them into this pattern of paying these ridiculous fines. So this is, again, another article out of WA where another pointless strategy that they're trying to bring in to reduce road safety that has little or no prospect of any success. It is entitled P-platers and Motorcyclists Could Face Tougher Restrictions to Tackle Road Toll. So far this year, 122 people have been killed on WA roads, prompting suggestions from experts to tighten licensing restriction on P-platers, heavy vehicle drivers and motorbike riders. Again, how many motorbike riders are causing accidents? That's what I want to know. I know a lot of them get involved in them because these other idiots don't keep an eye out for them, but how many motorbike riders are causing accidents? So if there's not many, which I dare say is the case, why is there any need to target them and make, put harsher restrictions on them? Reduce speed limits, here we go again, on regional roads at night and when it rains, as well as to introduce safety campaigns with shock factor. Is our advertising hard-hitting enough to remind all West Australians, but especially young people, of the risks that can have severe consequences for themselves and for their friends and family? Minister for Road Safety David Michael said. Young people are absolutely overrepresented in the killed and serious injury data, but they're not the only ones. We'll look at the restrictions P-platers currently have on them, whether or not they need to be tightened up, whether we need to do more to ensure that, especially drivers who have just got their licence, drive with the least risk possible. It starts with having more police on the road and actually using the funds that are sitting there in the Road Trauma Trust account. Hallelujah, someone with a brain, someone who can think logically, okay? Now we're actually getting somewhere. Let's put more police on the roads, actually stopping people in the moment that they are driving recklessly or dangerously, not just using these insidious cameras to issue fines, 3 or 4 weeks after the event, and creating this clear incongruency between the so-called, risk factor of whatever the offence happens to be, combined with the, expectation that, well, actually it's not that bad because the same person who hasn't modified their driving behaviour in any way for the next 3 or 4 weeks is still magically alive so that they can pay the fine. Okay? It makes no sense, but that's how the governments think because they're only interested in the money. Now, speaking of police on the roads, if you needed any more evidence, okay, to understand once and for all that this entire speed camera program is simply about revenue raising, has little to nothing to do with actual road safety, then have a look at what the police in Victoria are doing again. Okay, this is the second time it's happened, okay, this year. And it's happened previously, okay? This is the article. Rank and file police to target Allen government with a rapid escalation of industrial action designed to end cycle of wage theft. The Allen government is once again at war with all state emergency services. Oh, what a great, legacy dictator Dan left for good old Allen to deal with. After Victoria's 18,000 police and protective service officers relaunched, doing it again, industrial action on Tuesday. Police are seeking a 24% pay rise over the next 4 years. That seems pretty significant to me, but anyway. Maybe it's just me. As well as new 8.5-hour shifts to account for unpaid time officers spend kitting up and kitting down before and after their shifts. It's not where we want to be. We want to be solving this dispute. We've always wanted to solve this dispute. Okay. Our members have seen other workers receiving higher pay rises, and they feel that the nature and importance of their work to the community should be held in the same regard and attract the same rewards, he said. I mean, absolutely. I mean, what's the government thinking? I mean, the police shooting citizens with, rubber bullets and, issuing people with fines for being 6 kilometres, away from their home is absolutely, definitely as important as, ambulance drivers saving people's lives and firefighters doing the same. I mean, come on, people, what are you thinking? They need to put food on their tables. They need to put their kids into school and keep them in school. They have the same cost of living pressures as we all do, and policing is taking more than it's giving at the moment. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but maybe they could leave the force and go and get another job like the rest of us had to. Just a thought. Morale is hopeless in policing. I've rarely seen worse, to be quite honest, he said, adding that police were being asked to do more while police stations were being shut. Sounds a lot like the poor bank workers who are, doing more and more work and having their bank branches shut down. No one seems to be, driving them around with slogans all over their car and, urging for more pay for them. Just the police, special people. Crime isn't going down in Victoria. No, it most assuredly is not. So the workload confronting police officers and PSOs is not getting any less. Their capacity to deal with the pressures of policing, well, that's dwindling. Yes, but they need to help themselves first by actually standing up for others, not shooting them with rubber bullets and issuing them ridiculous fines. So maybe if the police actually focused on proper policing and reducing the crime out on the streets, maybe the rest of Victorians might be a little more sympathetic to their cause. Now, don't get me wrong, the majority of police do an excellent job. But of course, there are a few cowboys that give the rest of the police a bad name. And unfortunately, we saw that all exacerbated over the COVID period. Phase 1, which means there's more phases. Phase 1 industrial action will see police officers warning motorists about speed cameras to deprive the government of revenue and marking their patrol cars with EBA-related messages. I'll say it again slowly. They're going to warn motorists about speed cameras to deprive the government of revenue. I don't think I can make it any clearer, people. That spells it out in black and white. Slogans will include, Labor, you love nurses, what about police? Nurses don't shoot people with rubber bullets. That's probably the key distinction. And don't bail on police, pay us what we're worth. Well, if you actually got out and did the job and reduced crimes, like the nurses who actually save lives, you might have an argument. But Mr. Gatt said police were preparing to escalate to phase 2 industrial action within days. Well, if phase 1 is warning people about cameras and depriving the government of revenue, what's phase 2? Well, glad you asked. Phase 2 will see Victoria Police cease issuing penalty notices on all cases that don't impact community safety, stop issuing subpoenas, stop collecting statistical data for the government, and refuse to undertake any voluntary duties, such as working at major events like the AFL Finals and Spring Racing Carnival. Oh, God, what's going to happen to the sporting capital of Australia? If there's no police around to protect everybody, what are we going to do? Might actually have to focus on some more important issues rather than focusing on mindless sports. The government needs to ask itself, how long is it going to let Victoria Police treat its workers like this? When is it going to say enough is enough, Mr. Gatt asked. Well, my question to you, police officers, with all due respect, is when are you going to say enough is enough? When are you going to warn motorists constantly, not just now in your industrial action phase, warn motorists constantly about these revenue-raising devices because you understand they have nothing to do with road safety? When are you police officers going to stop issuing these pointless infringement notices because you know they have nothing to do with safety and they're all about revenue raising? When you do that 24/7, month in, month out, not just to get your way and to get your pay increase, then some more people might possibly come around to your way of thinking and be a little bit more supportive of what it is that you're trying to achieve. But that aside, for everybody watching this video, there you have it, crystal clear, in black and white. They're going to start warning motorists about the presence and location of speed cameras and stop issuing infringement notices. So clearly those things have little to nothing to do with any form of safety, despite, of course, what the government keeps trying to shove down our throats. And of course, logically, if it's good enough for the police to stop issuing infringement notices, it's only logical that you too should refuse to pay any infringement notices that you've been issued with. Now, let me make this very clear right here and now. You cannot just ignore them or just refuse to pay them. Okay, that's not going to help you in the slightest, but you can and you absolutely should challenge them and beat them, okay, and keep your hard-earned money in your pocket by following that tried, tested and proven 3-step process from chapter 3 of that Aussie Speeding Fines book. Again, you'll find a link in the description, you'll find a link in the comments, and should you need any more proof or any more incentive to use those strategies to challenge your fines, please do watch all the way to the end of tonight's video, where I'm going to be going through even more testimonials from our members, including yet another actual court printout, which proves categorically that those strategies definitely do work. Now, the other thing that Aussie Speeding Fines book can and really should be used for is, of course, to challenge all manner of unjust and unlawful parking fines, just like the ones that I referred to on that last video update I did last week. And again, should you need any more reason why you should be challenging those parking fines, just have a look at what councils are doing now with their cashless parking meters. So here is the article, and as I read this, I'm going to hold this sign up so you can see what the article refers to. These are what are popping up now around various council areas. So it says, are new complicated cashless parking meters just making things harder for drivers? Cashless parking meters are popping up across Australia. Payment apps are supposed to be a far easier way to pay for pricey parking in busy city areas, including extending your time from afar. But what if they're just making things harder? One particularly complicated parking sign in North Sydney, this is the one they're referring to, attracted the ire of a driver who described it as a joke. Jody complained to Ben Fordham Live on 2GB that she was left bewildered after encountering a meter in North Sydney which offered just one way to pay through an app called Pay Stay. Jody, who spotted the cashless meter in Crow's Nest, said the new system is a complete joke after jumping through hoops to pay for her parking. When did it become so complicated and time-consuming just to park the car? She told Fordham in a message on Wednesday. Will this become the norm everywhere? I've parked in Crow's Nest and there's no physical meter, just a sign saying pay by phone and directing you to a website. When you get to the website, it tells you to download an app. Jody said the app required her to sign up for an account and ask for personal information, including a name, phone number, postcode, car registration, and credit card details. And you want to be handing all of that over so that it can get hacked by the cyber security people and all the rest of it just to park your car? Seriously? I don't think so. What happened to anonymously chucking a coin in the meter and getting on with your day? Exactly. Jessica Keane, Liberal candidate for North Sydney, called in to say she was against the new app, which even she had problems navigating. I couldn't work it out, and honestly, I was on council for 4 years. Ben, and I was a councillor. I sat on a traffic committee, so I'm very across parking meters, she said. And I've also had older residents contacting me and saying, where's the old paper? How do I do it? I haven't got my credit card. A lot of people don't have smartphones that you can download apps to. And this is a counsellor, okay, who's saying this. I mean, they're aware of the issue. They know people struggle with these new payment systems, but they continue to just blindly roll them out anyway. To me, it's very simple. If there's no way to pay cash, you simply leave some coins and a sign on your dashboard and walk away and deal with it down the track. If they're stupid enough to issue with a fine, take a photo of your dashboard, because then you've got all the proof you need under the Bills of Exchange Act that you had actual legal tender available to pay for your parking fine, but there was no one or no system there to accept it, so there was nothing you could do. Now, speaking of cashless things, the other big news of this week is, of course, the fact that the Gloria Jeans company stores are all going cashless. Now, here is the article if anybody missed the absolute barrage of posts on social media about this. But it is entitled, Gloria Jeans Coffees to go cashless at company-owned stores this month. The company said the move reflects customer payment preferences. Does it really, though? Let's find out. The cafe chain will stop taking cash payments at some Australian stores, and a new trial rolled out next week. Gloria Jeans Coffees is going completely cashless at company-owned stores from September 11th, the chain confirmed. Retail Food Group, which owns the coffee shop chain, said the move reflected customer behaviour. The primary goal of this initiative is to transition our business towards customer payment preferences and additionally enhance the safety of our team members by reducing the need to handle cash and coin. Yeah, the edges on those 20-cent coins, they are really dangerous. I mean, you can get yourself a little cut with those. Not to mention the dollar coins. Oh, those things jump out at you. They'll attack you. I mean, they're so dangerous. We believe that going cashless will not only create a safer environment for our staff, but also streamline operations, allowing us to serve our customers more efficiently. What a load of crap. I'm sorry, but that's just pure garbage. Retail Food Group said the majority of Gloria Jeans Coffees outlets were owned and operated by franchise partners who could set their own cash handling policies. There are no present plans to extend the above trial to their outlets, each of which continue to accept cash, a spokesperson said. The move was met with strong backlash online, as it should be, as several people claim the chain would lose their business. You can stay cashless, I won't be going there, one person said. Time to boycott, another one said. And so on and so on. And I certainly echo that sentiment. So please, if any of you happen to run a Gloria Jeans franchise, or if by any chance you know someone who is actually a Gloria Jeans franchisee, I urge you to get all of those franchisees together and make a collective complaint in writing to the franchise or to the head office. Okay, get together, make that complaint. You need to gather as much of this negative feedback online as you can. And again, as always, you'll find plenty on our Call Out Cashless Businesses Facebook group. Again, you'll find a link in the comment section. You'll also find plenty on the Cash is King discussion group. That article's been posted there 1,000,000 times. If you gather that information up, send a letter to the head office, signed by as many franchisees as you can, and put them on notice, formally on notice, that their actions, their decisions are having a negative impact on your business. And if they don't cease and desist, from this ridiculous trial and reverse their stance on cashless payments, that you'll be forced to take legal action against them. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm not giving any kind of legal advice here, but I have been involved in numerous dealings between franchisees and franchisors before. And one of the key requirements that is very, very clear for both parties is that they must not take any action which would negatively affect the overall brand. And this decision by the company-owned stores to refuse cash payments clearly appears, to me at least, to be a breach of that requirement. So I, again, urge all Gloria Jeans independent franchisees to get together and make that point clear to the head office. All right, so the last thing before I finish up tonight, again, is obviously just to remind everyone for basically one of the final times that our final live events for the foreseeable future are, of course, on in Perth next weekend. That's the 13th, 14th and 15th of September. Again, you can find out all the details of what we're going to be covering at those truly life-changing events via the links on our seminar page. And again, you'll find a link in the description and the comment section. Now, of course, if you cannot make it to our Perth events for any reason, do make sure you grab a copy of our home study course that does have a full recording of one of those 2.5-day events. There's the 3 custom-made workbooks, there's the 17 DVDs, pause, rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home, go through all that info there. Now, of course, we do recommend people get to the live events if you can. You get to mix and mingle with other like-minded people, but if you can't, avail yourself of that home study course. Now, the other point I want to make, if you missed last night's email that we sent out to all of our subscribers or you miss the social media posts, I would ask you if you could possibly just spend a couple of minutes to look through our fully updated products page. Again, you should find a link in the comment section. Otherwise, just go to the products tab on our website. We've uploaded all the brand new images for our various products and also our fully updated shop pages. And again, you should find a link in the comments there, which now have all of our actual products listed by popularity, so you can see what others are using to help them stand up for their rights. So if you can give us your feedback on those and any other changes that you might like to see, then we will have a look at those over the coming weeks as we continue to make changes to update our website and make it as user-friendly as possible. Now, the other thing that I wanted to point out, we do have our brand new tech pack. We just created a brand new tech pack, and what that has is our USB CD drive. For those of you who don't have a CD player on your computer, you can just plug that in. It also includes our KYR USB drive, thumb drive, so you can plug that into the top, move all of the data from the CDs, DVDs onto the USB drive, and it also includes one of our mouse mats, basically, because just everybody uses a mouse mat nowadays. So we've combined them all together, so you can save a little bit of money from getting them all individually, and it's a great new pack, and you'll find that on the last shop page as well, if that's of interest to you. So as always, to finish off, I'm going to go through the latest testimonials, as I promised at the start of the video, from some of our members, as well, of course, as the latest memes to get people thinking. So first one is from a member who got a parking fine, and that's the covering letter, and there's a withdrawal notice. Covering letter says, dear such and such, further to representations regarding this matter, I advise infringement notice number has been formally withdrawn. A formal withdrawal notice is attached, and there you can see the actual withdrawal notice, and there you can see confirmation that they will be taking no further action. And that was parked not completely within a parking bay. So again, if you use that tried, tested and proven 3-step process from that Aussie Speeding Fines book, that's the exact same sort of response that you can get yourself. Now, sometimes, you know, the police do push back on occasion. Sometimes things do end up in court. Sometimes people end up, even losing a case in court. It does happen. But you've got to keep standing your ground and, if necessary, appeal. And again, when you stick to your guns, you run the arguments correctly, you can get a fantastic result like this. Now, as you can see, this is clearly a result of an appeal. It was from the Broadmeadows Magistrates Court into the County Court. Okay, and here is the formal official. This is an actual court order. You can look up the actual court case number yourselves and confirm and verify it all for yourselves. The initial charge, the offence was exceed the speed limit by less than 10 Ks. The original sentence was actually no conviction, but just a fine of $207. This particular person said, no, even though there's no conviction, I'm not happy to pay a fine. I'm going to appeal. So he's appealed, and it says here, the orders imposed at the Magistrates Court of Victoria on such and such date are set aside, and their in their stead, the following orders are to be made. Charges dismissed. Okay, there it is. I know it's a little bit small, but it clearly says the charge was completely dismissed. So no fine, no conviction, no nothing. So again, stick to the strategies. Keep standing up. Keep fighting. Don't roll over. Don't give in. Appeal if necessary. And we need to keep sending these Muppets a message to stop issuing these ridiculous infringement notices, because we're going to keep fighting them, we're going to keep appealing them, and we're going to win. They will get the message very soon when it keeps costing them money and they get nothing for it. Okay, so to finish up just quickly with some of the memes for tonight. So yeah, this is a very, very important one, because so many people just think, oh, well, I'll just sit back and wait and see what happens. Absolutely not. Okay, this is a quote from Marcus Aurelius. And you can also commit injustice by doing nothing. I keep saying at the end of every video, be proactive. We need people taking action. You can also commit an injustice by doing nothing. You don't want to do that. Now, I've been telling people about this for years. People say, oh, it can't possibly be true, Mike. People aren't that stupid. Well, there is the photographic proof and evidence that sadly there are many very, very stupid people out there that are doing exactly this. As it says, a British company offers clients bank cards that can be injected into your wrist or forearm for for contactless payment. And people are lining up for this insanity. So just be aware. Yes, I saw this, and there's no comment necessary. We've spoke, especially at the start of the year, about these sovereign citizens and cookers. And he says, okay, clotter. And that's the end of the argument. So enough said. I'm sure you can read between the lines and connect the dots. Okay, and then this is the final one that I'm going to leave you with because, as I said, it is so important. You can't just sit there and do nothing. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. But, you know, we are in the end times. We all need to be proactive and we need to take action. And sometimes those actions can be a little difficult and challenging. So as it says, it's so easy to just sit back on your sofa munching on potato chips while the world around you goes to hell. It's also just as easy to criticise those who have the courage to stand up and warn people. What's not easy is saying the things that need to be said to a society so conditioned by lies that they don't even want to listen until it's too late. One thing for sure though, you can't say that we didn't warn you. And I've certainly been playing my role and doing my bit with these videos every week or so over the past few years, our radio shows, our live events and all the rest of it. And hopefully you're all out there playing your little bit and playing your role as well. So I am going to leave things there for tonight. As always, I do urge you to please make use of all of those resources. Again, to please get informed, get fired up and get proactive. We do need that this year more than ever before. These videos, of course, are completely free to watch. You'll find them on our BitChute channel, on our YouTube channel, and under the videos tab on our Facebook page. Our radio shows, again, completely free to listen to every second Tuesday night. We are back again this coming Tuesday. Again, you should find a link to the radio show tab. Just click on that tab, click the big black Listen Live button. All the issues with that have been sorted, so you can use that off any platform now and listen to us live between 8 and 10 p.m. Those shows, of course, are 2 hours long, completely uncensored platform, so we can go into a lot more detail than what we can on these videos. And of course, if you've missed any of our past shows over the past 10 years and you want to access all those fully edited shows, you can join up as a podcast member for less than $5 a week. Now, of course, if you want to go above and beyond that, we do, of course, recommend our book, The Essential Step-by-Step Manual for Understanding and Exercising Your Rights, that Aussie Speeding Fines book that I mentioned before for challenging all unjust and unlawful fines. And of course, we know a lot of people are genuinely struggling financially at the moment, so please stop throwing good money after bad. Your unsecured loans, your personal loans, your credit cards, use that tried, tested and proven 4-step process from the Bank Secrets Review book to discharge or wipe out any of those loans. Again, you can get these individually. You'll find links in the description. You can get them all together as part of the combo pack. And again, we do have the little tote bag thrown in as a bonus, no extra charge. And finally, we do have our caps and beanies. We've been having some wild and woolly weather again, certainly in some of the eastern states. So not too late to grab a beanie, grab a cap. People see the logo, they come up, they have a chat. Great way to meet like-minded people. So do keep that in mind. So I'm going to leave things there. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Please do give us some feedback on what you think of the new products and shop pages, and any feedback on any other changes that you'd like to see us make. Other than that, we'll see you again on Tuesday. We'll talk to you on Tuesday night for our radio show, and of course see you again next Thursday for our next live video update. Until then, take care.